wanted to let you guys know that I do have an online store up now. I've got t-shirts and stickers for sale. Very good prices. That would be this link right here. And you can go there. Hello, Rev heads and newcomers. This is Rev in the 417, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about fuel stabilizer in your motorcycles. I did some research and I was hoping to tell you chemically what's in fuel stabilizers and what exactly they do on a molecular level to stabilize your gasoline, but these companies are pretty secretive about what they put in their product, so I couldn't find any of that. Anyhow, I don't usually use fuel stabilizers. I've never had a problem before. What I do is every week I will run my bike at idle until it gets up to operating temperatures, and I've never ever had a problem. The issue happens when the volatile components of the gasoline evaporate. This leaves a gummy type substance, makes the remaining fuel gummy, and not only does this reduce the usability of the gasoline, it reduces the flow characteristics, so it's harder to get through the system. And if you have carburetors, it'll clog those up pretty bad because they have really tiny passages. The other problem you'll have with letting your motorcycle sit is water tends to accumulate in the fuel system. If there's any open spaces, water is not good to have in your engine. So what fuel stabilizers do are, one, they're going to absorb that water that's in your system and allow it to be pushed through the engine, and it won't cause any harm. And also, the stabilizer stabilizes the fuel. It keeps the volatile components of the fuel from evaporating away as fast. And these will usually last, these will keep your gas good for about a year. Normal gasoline isn't really breaking down. It would take a few of our lifetimes for the gasoline to actually break down. Like I said, it's just evaporating off all of the volatile components. If you have a carburetor, this stuff is really good for you. Fuel injectors will fare a little better with the gummy gasoline that builds up. And we're talking about pretty small amounts of this gummy stuff, but it'll still do some damage because you're not letting your bike sit for too terribly long if you're just letting it sit over the winter. If you're going to store it for years, then yeah, this is your best bet. What you don't want to do, which I see people doing, is you don't want to just empty the entire fuel system. If you do that, you're going to promote rust in your tank, and you're going to harm and rot out your gaskets and fuel lines, and you don't want to do that. What I do is I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to run it through my KTM. My KTM is fuel injected, so I'm just going to let it run for a bit, let it get all throughout the system, and it's good to go. I don't need to start it up again until the next time I go ride when the weather warms up. If I were to use it on a carbureted motorcycle, what I would do is pretty much the same thing. I'd put it in the tank, let it run for a while, let this get all throughout the carburetor, and then I would turn it off and I would drain the carburetor, drain it of all the gas. The reason I do this is just to make sure that the carburetor isn't going to get gummed up. This should work by itself, but I like to drain it, and I've heard that some of these can harm some different types of carburetors depending on what they're made of. You ask, if I'm just going to drain the carburetor anyway, why do I bother putting this through? I would do that because draining the carburetor with the carburetor drain bolt isn't going to get everything out of the carb, and the gas that's left in the carb, no matter how small of an amount, I want it to be treated so it doesn't end up gumming up. Because then you could go through all that work and still have a nasty carburetor come summertime. This stuff is pretty simple to use. You just read the directions, put it in your tank, run it for a while. If you have a carburetor, you can do what I said to do. you can't really overdose on this within a reasonable margin. So if you put too much in, don't worry too much about it. It's not really going to hurt anything. Alright guys, I'm going to treat my KTM. I'm not going to treat the CRF because I'm going to be riding this thing all winter. And if I get some warmer days, I'll ride the KTM. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll be putting out videos all winter. Finals are over, so I have a lot more time on my hands. Thank you for watching.